Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, before we start the regular part of the meeting, we have some awards to hand out. And I just want to read the Winsted Pride Awards. The Winsted Pride Awards recognize the residents and businesses for enhancing the aesthetic quality of a property in the city of Winsted above and beyond accessible standards. One award is presented each year in the residential category and one in the business category. These properties usually exceed codes and design standards, and they display exceptional maintenance standards. Their hard work and dedication to their properties offer major contributions to the overall enhancement of the city's image. The improvements and maintenance create a sense of pride throughout the community. On behalf of the city of Winsted, I would like to congratulate the 2021 Winsted Pride Award winners. It's Shirley Feeke and George McGuire. If you would come up here, George, we'll give you your plaque. And Anna will be taking pictures, not me.
Showing up right at time.
We don't mess around.
Thanks.
You've done here in Winsted.
Thank you for, this guy's been a tremendous help too, really has. He doesn't want to hear that, he gets a little, you're getting embarrassed.
Well, I appreciate that, George.
Right here.
You got a great project.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So again, so for everybody that doesn't know, George's building is just south of City Hall here. It used to be the old Sharon's Beauty building, is that correct?
Yep, yeah, it's 2 doors technically down from Jack's Bar. But, yeah, we're doing concrete soon.
Okay, excited.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks
Thank
for being
you.
a great town. I honestly, God, I love coming here, so.
Well, we're glad you came.
Well, I truly, you know I live in another town, but I enjoy every day I come out here and spend time, getting to know the locals. And I almost kind of in some, I know, but a little bit of a way feel like a local now. So
Well, good, good.
it's, I've gotten to know lots of them, and I was blown away at the fish fry. From a guy from the cities to experience that, it's amazing. It's crazy. So anyway, and then the Winsted days here, the other system is terrific. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
Shirley?
Shirley, thank you for all you do for the property in the city of Winsted. Okay.
Thank you very much. Should I hold it that way? Thank you. and
Thank you, Shirley.
I love it here too. I always have fun and everything that goes on.
Good, good.
Shirley?
Thanks, Shirley. We've come to the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the following items. Item A, approve the minutes of the following: City Council work session, July 20, City Council regular meeting, July 20, City Council work session, August 3rd, City Council regular meeting, August 3rd, Economic Development Authority meeting, April 13th, Economic Development Authority meeting on the 20th. Next item, item B, consider a motion to adopt Resolution R-21-40, authorizing the mayor and city administrator to execute a grant agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation Office of Aeronautics for airport improvement excluding land acquisition for state project number A4306-38 at the Winsted Municipal Airport for terminal area and apron pavement rehabilitation. Item E, approve the dance permit for the Blue Note Ballroom, 323rd Street South, for a dance event on Saturday, October 16th. Item D, adopt Resolution R-21-41 to accept a contribution from gambling proceeds from the Winsted Volunteer Fire Department Relief Association in the amount of $2,500 to be dedicated to the City of Winsted Park Fund. Item E, adopt Resolution R-21-42 to accept a contribution from gambling proceeds from the Winston Volunteer Fire Department Relief Association in the amount of $15,000 to be dedicated toward the Winston Volunteer Fire Department's capital improvement plan. Item F, approve a quote from Flaherty and Hood, PA, to provide an update to the City of Winston's base pay structure for an amount not to exceed $2,000. Item G, accept the voluntary resignation of Mrs. Ty Lazar from the Winston Volunteer Fire Department effective September 7th. Item H, approve the claims list for September 7. Item I, appoint Mr. Tyler Nelson for the position of full-time police officer with the Winston Police Department at a step 8 of the 2021 compensation plan, and authorize the city administrator to negotiate a parenting leave benefit in coordination with the City of Winston personnel policies and procedures manual. Item J, authorize a wage modification for Paige Vick at step 8 of the 2021 compensation plan. That's tonight's consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There's no old business, but the first item under new business is the Public Works Maintenance Supervisor Retirement and Succession Plan. Adam?
Morning, Mr. Deputy Mayor and members of the City Council. On September 26, 2021, the City Council and City staff formally received the notice of voluntary retirement from David Meyer, the Maintenance Supervisor. His voluntary retirement is effective January 4th, 2022. The retirement will conclude 20 years of service with the City of Winsted. So we will certainly recognize Mr. Meyer in the future, closer to his retirement date, with an official get-together here with the City of Winsted. But in the meantime, I think we should be prudent in working towards succession planning to fill that important position here within the City of Winsted. The City of Winsted's personnel policy and procedures manual dictates that the city administrator or designee will determine if a vacancy will be filled through an open recruitment or by promotion, transfer, or some other method. The determination will be made on a case-by-case basis. In this specific case, I am recommending to attempt to fill the maintenance supervisor position internally with a promotion. So I am recommending that you allow me to open up that position for application internally with our staff. If it cannot be filled internally, then I would like to initiate an external recruitment process to fill the said position. Additionally, if the position is filled internally, I would also like to be authorized to start the open recruitment process to fill the additional position within the Public Works staff. The city administrator or designee, with the assistance and participation from the relevant department heads, will manage the hiring process for all the positions within the City of Winsted. The city administrator will utilize department resources to assist in the process as appropriate in order to form a recommendation for the City Council. The evaluation process is dictated within the personnel policy, and the final hiring approval and appointment is the authority of the City Council. So we will do this hiring internally with our staff. We're not looking for authorization to use an outside consultant to assist with this hiring, certainly. But again, the final decision will be the City Council's after a recommendation from the city administrator and city staff. I think it's prudent that we, again, continue to move forward with this succession planning and recruitment process, especially with knowing what season, unfortunately, we'll be coming into. The snow removal season, that can start literally at any time, from October, certainly into November and December. I do not want to be short-staffed with that position into January with all the unknowns from a weather standpoint, as well as just where we're at in terms of the pandemic we're in right now. Again, I don't want to be short-staffed there. So I would like to continue to move forward with that starting after this evening. So that being said, is there any questions for me tonight?
If you were to start this process and find that someone from the maintenance department is interested, would they take that position after Mr. Myers has?
Yeah, it would be effective after his retirement, Correct. Is what I'm proposing, is what I would propose to the city council.
And then if you at the same time are trying to fill the maintenance worker position, when would that position be hired?
Well, it depends what the recruitment of the maintenance supervisor position looks like and the time frame that takes. But if that's a expedited process and that doesn't take long, then we'll probably wait a little bit to start the recruitment process for the public works position. But ultimately, my goal is to have a full staff, everybody fully hired, in place by the beginning of December. So that'll allow us some crossover and some leeway in that hiring process.
So you're only talking a month of...
A month of, there might be a month where I would recommend that we have 4 staff members in place versus 3.
The reason I'm saying that, we're in September and
Right,
started vision in October and November, so...
exactly.
Yeah, 1
So,
month.
right, so I want to continue to move with that to allow for the fact that I want to be fully staffed come the beginning of December +1. That makes sense. As long as the city council's okay with that plan as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the voluntary resignation of Mr. David Meyer from the Winston Public Works Department effective January 4th of 2022, and authorize the city administrator to initiate and manage the recruitment process for the Public Works Department.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, Winston Municipal Airport 2021 Airport Runway Improvement Fee.
So as we're all aware, we are winding down on the runway reconstruction project out at the Winston Municipal Airport. Again, to reiterate, the project was funded through the Federal Aviation Administration with the Minnesota Department of Transportation as well, Office of Aeronautics, and then there was also a 5% local share as part of those project costs. To cover, and as part of the planning process, to cover that local share, the Winston Airport Commission had made a recommendation to apply a one-time airport runway improvement fee to the airport hangar owners to offset the 5% local share of the project cost. The recommendation included the local project share being split among 56 potential total hangars, with the current hangar owners being charged a one-time fee in the city of Winston covering the cost of 20 potential future hangars. City staff consulted with the city attorney and it was determined that the hangar lease agreements provided that a tenant shall pay all taxes, fines, fees, and other charges that may be levied or assessed during the term of the tenant's lease. The city attorney made a recommendation for the amount to be classified as the 2021 airport runway improvement fee. The fee was enacted by Resolution R-21-05, which established the cost of the proposed one-time runway improvement fee and set a deadline for the payment for October 1st, 2021. In that time, the runway was anticipated to be opened here in the late spring, early summer of 2021, but given the turf was delayed in terms of turf establishment with the drought conditions and the cooler weather in the spring and then extreme heat in the summer, unfortunately, the runway has not established itself to a point that we've been able to open yet. So with that being said, city staff is recommending that we delay the deadline for that payment until from October 1st, 2021 to June 1st, 2022, recognizing that right now the runway is not open. The hangar owners have not been able to use the runway both for a bulk of 2020 or in 2021. And again, just recognize that and delaying that payment for them until June 1st at this point. Any questions for me right now?
When is the airport commission is aware of this?
The Airport Commission did discuss potentially adjusting the fee. We didn't speak into specifics on regarding delaying it or adjusting it. The deadline snuck up on me a little bit. It would be October 1st. So I certainly want to act on this prior to October 1st. I do believe the Airport Commission would support delaying this payment though until June.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, a motion to approve an extension of the payment deadline enacted in Resolution R-21-05 21-05 from October 1st, 2021 to June 1st, 2022 for the 2021 Winsted Municipal Airport Runway Improvement Fee for land lease tenants at the Winsted Municipal Airport.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Tonight's department report is the building inspector. So if you want to step up.
Two of them.
Yep. Whole team here. I'm just here for emotional support. My name is Pat Sky. This is Jack Weisel. We work with Metro West Inspections. We do the inspections here in Winsted and some of your neighboring cities in Carver County. But anyways, I prepared a short report here just on permits that have been pulled in the last year. I did ones that have been pulled up from year to date, and then I went back last in 2020 for the last 2-3 months at the end of the year, just so you can get a full year's worth of inspections. Anyways, we'll start with re-roofs. We had 62 re-roofs. There's quite a few. I think there was a hailstorm that came through here in April. So we had quite a few re-roofs. Anyways, and next would be windows and doors. We had 6 permits on that. We had 4 decks pulled permits, 5 siding permits. Alteration, remodel, addition, I kind of grouped them all in one. We had 22 of them. Also had 2 new homes that were built over on Lake Court, other side of the lake. Also, as far as commercial buildings, Miller-Byrne Manufacturing, their building is finished up and they got their certificate of occupancy. We have the Winsted Dental, it's nearing completion down on the corner of 6th Main there. And of course, we got George McGuire's building. It's finished up, looking for, I think he has some people renting out the basement. And that's about all I got here, so if you've got any questions.
What is your background?
Well, before getting into building inspections, I was working in commercial building and residential building and remodeling.
Okay.
Re-roofs, you mentioned there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Do you find that those are being installed all the time being correctly? Because I worry about when hail comes through and you got a lot of people knocking on doors, "I'll do your roof, I'll do your roof." Have you had any issues with roofs that you've inspected?
I haven't. There's, you know, it's pretty rare when you find a roof that hasn't been installed right, really. I mean, it's a pretty
Okay.
straightforward process. But, the main thing that we're looking at is the ice and water protection underneath it, and that the venting is in place and valley flashing is correct.
But you've seen no real issues at all that
I
during your
haven't seen,
inspections?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess the main issues that I've maybe run into in the past would have been, like, flashing around the skylight or something where the shingles aren't laying flat, where they use the old flashing and then flatten it out. But that was in a different city, but, for the few that I've seen, it's been stuff like that, either that or I noticed on the pictures there's not enough ice and water, or like over, say, a porch kind of, or porch entryway area where they have a larger overhang, where they require like an extra row of ice and water.
So when someone has a roof replaced, you inspect it when they're done?
Yes.
Okay.
And we require pictures of the ice and water that go underneath the shingles.
Okay.
I have a question. How are rental inspections coming?
Well, they're coming along a little bit better now that, after the COVID died down there for a little while, they kind of picked back up, and it's still been going pretty strong, even though the new variant is coming through, their pace hasn't really dropped down that much. So they're
So have residents seemed to do a better job of contacting you and scheduling those once we've been notifying them? Does that seem,
Yeah, it seems like they're I don't know, being more frequent than they
More responsive.
So.
okay,
And it's always going to be something that's going to be kind of year round every year with them, on a 5-year
right.
rental
Right.
lease. And
Right. We do require, the city of Winston does require a 5-year, the lease is, or the license is good for 5 years, so every 5 years they have to renew that and have a new inspection. I know there's been some concerns about some properties, especially in the downtown area, some residential properties and some inspections of that. We feel we've have those addressed or have been addressing those through recent rental licensing and inspections. So we're seeing some improvements there, hopefully. Mr. Deputy Mayor, I have just a couple more questions if you don't mind. Pat, has there been any new building codes that the city council should be aware of that have occurred in the last year or two or that are coming down that the city council should be aware of? Any alterations to the state building code? Or not?
not anything like real major changes, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, just small little changes like, where they might be changing like window file protection or.
Okay, but nothing major that would impact potential development in the future with Winstead?
Right.
Okay. And then,
I know, I mean,
sure, and this is really just for my own insight. When a contractor calls you to schedule an appointment, so let's say they call on a Monday morning, how long is it their response time? Are you able to get there within 24 hours? Is it 48 hours? How often, or how long from the time they schedule the time you're able to be on site to do the inspection?
well,
Or what do you strive for,
minimum
I guess?
24 hours usually, but when it gets busy, like during busy times, it could stretch out to, 2-3 days.
Okay. So and then at that point, then the contractor would be forced to stop any building or stop the project if they don't have an inspection, is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
So, and I think most of them are aware when it gets busy that they need to, give it a little more lead time on an inspection.
Sure, okay.
Anybody else have questions?
Thanks.
I just like to toss in there about that last question.
Sure.
And because construction has been crazy right now, and it's really, we actually just hired a new guy today. So, and usually 24 to 48 hours is the maximum you're gonna find that we're out for
Right.
inspections usually.
Right.
Like you say, we just hired, it's hard to find people that are qualified to do the work and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, we are continually updating our staff. And it is, from a lot of contractors and that I've talked to, and they're all really happy with our services, because if you go anywhere close to the cities that are self-staffed, in-house inspections, they get out a week.
Okay.
And
And part of the reason I ask is because if there's occasionally a contractor will contact me and they'll have a complaint that the inspection, it took a long time, and I'm assuming the city council may get the same calls occasionally, so I just wanted to understand where you guys are coming from, and I certainly understand the challenges of providing staff right now or having a staff right now, so it's not new to you.
we do try to cater, because the one thing, we don't want you guys to even know that we exist. We don't want you to get any complaints or anything like that. Usually complaints come because people like to complain, and we can't help it all the time.
Sure.
It's real important to have good PR with contractors. There's different things that we do. You guys don't have a lot of septics, so they don't do septics in the city out here, but, some things, weather willing, like roofs, there may be a lot of permits, and there may be a hit of a lot of permits at the end of the year, and then they all want to get their inspection so they can get paid, and all of a sudden we get a big snowfall. We can't do roof inspections because you can't see the roof. Sometimes that will have to be put off like that. It's a different situation, different measures.
Sure.
I would imagine over the years, you've kind of figured out who the good contractors are and who the ones,
They're all the best.
Okay. All right.
We get, I get a lot of calls to ask if I can refer them to contractors, and I unfortunately, I can't give out referrals.
Right.
It's against our regulations.
No, and I wasn't asking you to name names. I'm just saying you probably know who to look out for and who's not.
And you know, through the years that I've been doing this, there's a lot of good contractors out there. It's just like anything else, one or two may give a whole bunch of bad names.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
We've come to the open forum section of the meeting. If anybody wants to address the council, step up to where these gentlemen are leaving and have at it. Okay, it doesn't look like anybody wants to talk to us, so we'll go on to the city administrator update and announcements. Adam?
Sure, just a couple quick updates. As we talked about at the last city council meeting, McLeod County did receive a permit request for a conditional use permit for a 1 megawatt solar array adjacent to the Northgate property. The city of Winston did provide a resolution of opposition to that permit submission. Unfortunately, today, the McLeod County the McLeod County Board of Commissioners did approve that conditional use permit for that solar array in that area. So that will likely require us to reevaluate some of our growth documents and how we addressed planning and zoning adjacent to the city limits. So again, so we can allow for orderly development and efficient development within the area. That's why we would evaluate those zoning ordinances, et cetera. So again, so that project will be ongoing now or moving forward. Another project where we're at a little bit of a standstill, but still working through, is the former feed mill site. I know I provide quarterly updates on different projects, but this one specific, I received some comments, some questions on. The EDA has been made aware that the potential developer that we had lined up to acquire the property from the city of Winsted and redevelop it, including obviously addressing the blight issues. We're still negotiating with that potential developer. He does have some environmental concerns with the environmental review that was done, because the environmental review did note a couple of recognized environmental concerns. To move forward, we will look at potentially doing a phase 2 or potentially forgoing the development proposal and maybe taking on the demo ourselves as a city. That projected project cost could range between $100,000 and $125,000. So again, so we're still weighing some of our options and still negotiating with the potential developer for that project. I recognize we're maybe not moving as fast as we would like to, but it's just because of some of the unknowns and some of the costs associated with determining what the unknowns are and how to address them. So lastly, I just want to remind the public that the brush site continues to be open throughout the fall, and I anticipate again certainly more busy. The brush site hours are Wednesday evenings from 4 until sunset, and then on Saturdays from 9 to 1. So I just want to remind the public of that opportunity for that asset.
Tom, you have anything?
I have nothing.
Bonnie? Mike?
No, I do not.
Looking for a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.